So we have had the draw for Eurovision 2017. The semi-finalists will now know which heat they are competing in, as well as the big five and the host country know which votes they will be voting in, and also which semi-final their songs will be premiered in. So we're going to go through them. We're going to start with semi-final one, and it is in the first half, and this is in the order they got drawn out, no order. It is Montenegro, Finland, Georgia, Portugal, Belgium, Sweden, Albania and Australia in the first half. In the second half, we have Cyprus, Slovenia, Armenia, Moldova, the Czech Republic, Latvia, Iceland, Greece and Poland. And voting in that semi-final alongside them will be Italy, Spain and the United Kingdom. We know quite a few songs already, 3 of them, well 3/4 because we haven't heard the Botta revamped yet. And also we know a couple of the artists in that semi-final with Dihaj, Blanche, Slavko, Artsvik, Hovig and Demi still to release their songs. So we know a fair bit about the semi-final, but looking at it, who has a slight advantage and a disadvantage just going on, also voting patterns, neighbours, because obviously without the songs we can't make any conclusive evidence yet, but from what we can know and gather, who stands a good chance of getting out of it?
There's a lot of strong Eurovision countries in this semi-final, if that makes sense. So you've got Sweden, of course, back in the semi-finals, having had a year off last year. You've got Azerbaijan, who always do really well. You've got Australia, who of course have done amazingly since they've come into it. You've got Greece, who always do really well. You've got a lot of fan favourite countries in there as well. You've got Sweden, you've got Iceland. You've got Poland. People always seem to love their entry as well. So it's a very interesting semi-final. It's a good mix of different countries from around Europe, by which I mean there's a lot of different countries from different regions. But on the same note, we were talking just before you press record on this one, I think that we will see, and I think you agree, I think we'll see Belgium struggle. They don't have many allies in this semi-final at all, if you look at it politically. Sweden and Finland will obviously help each other, and Iceland, I suppose, being in the same semi-final. So you'd like to think that, well, not necessarily you'd like to think, but you'd think that they probably would vote for one another. Azerbaijan will probably stand out. I'm basing that on pretty much nothing. But looking at that first half, I think we're going to have quite a lot of slow songs, because in that first half of semi-final one, we've already got Botta. Like you said, it's going to be revamped, but it's probably still going to be quite slow. We've got Blackbird in there, that's quite slow. We've got Keep the Faith, which is a ballad. Slavko's song's probably going to be a bit more up-tempo, so Montenegro might stand a chance, because that's probably going to stand out. Sweden, it's Melody Festival, and it'll be up-tempo, whatever wins, surely for Sweden, so that'll stand out. And I can't imagine a world where we'll have, 2010 and Sweden won't get through, because they've upped their game since then. Another country I think might struggle, Czech Republic, maybe. They always do struggle to get through. I know they got through last year, and it was really great for them to be in the final, even though they eventually finished bottom. But yeah, it's an interesting semi-final.
Yeah, so when I saw it all done and I looked back at it, my mind instantly went to Cyprus. I think probably will qualify if the song is good enough, because they've got Greece there and they have Armenia, and Hovig is half Armenian. He performed at their national final, so he's quickly as well, they've got Italy voting as well, haven't they?
Yeah. It's a similar sort of sound.
And they've got obviously Thomas Giesen writing the song, so Sweden will probably chuck them a few points. If it's enough to get them through, I don't know, but when you just need to make the top 10, it's likely. I mean, I think Slavko's probably going to open the show. I know, I'm just basing it on his, past discography is very up-tempo and very fun, and he's kind of hinted that his song's just going to be a lot of, not craziness, but very upbeat and whatnot. And I don't see Sweden opening either. I don't think
yeah. I think you're about to make the same point. Go on, make it, and then I'll probably...
I was the only two people I could see really opening were Montenegro and Sweden, regarding on what Sweden sent, but I don't think any producer would be allowed to let Sweden open Eurovision. They'll probably be going 9th, like Russia did last year. They'll close the first half rather than open it.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think, well, for one reason, purely from an audience point of view, Sweden obviously bring a huge audience with them. and the producers wouldn't want Sweden to go first, and then everyone go, we've sung now. They'd want to keep the audience for as long as possible. Controversially, would they put Australia first? Because I'm just trying to think about the time difference. If they put Australia first, there's a chance that maybe some people might be able to watch it in the morning. Maybe.
It's definitely not impossible. They very well could do it, but they're going to struggle because, like you said, we've already got 3 ballads in that half alone. Blanche, I don't think is going to send an up-tempo song, because that's effectively half the songs that are going to be slow tempos, and just trying to balance that's going to be difficult, which makes it difficult for all of them songs to effectively get out, because their ability to stand out has vanished slightly. I think Blackbird will probably stand the most chance because it's not your typical ballad, so to speak. So we'll have to see. I think Latvia and Moldova could struggle, more so Moldova, just because they haven't had the success recently and their selection isn't that great this year either.
And it always helps them when they've got Romania in their semi-final.
They haven't got,
which they don't.
And they haven't got Ukraine either, so their neighbours aren't there. They're going to struggle, I think, a bit.
Yeah, this is... I know we're going to talk about semi-final 2 in a second, but this is more of a Western semi-final.
Yeah.
You've got a lot of the Baltic countries there. A lot of the Baltic countries are in semi-final 2. So it could be. I feel like we could have the opposite of what we had last year. So last year, obviously, we only had Sweden as the only sort of Scandinavian nation in the final. But I think the Scandinavian nations probably do all right this year, and I think maybe the Baltic countries might struggle because they might take points off each other in semi-final 2, which might give Latvia a chance, but equally they haven't got any allies in the semi-final, so bit of a struggle.
Yeah, obviously this is all speculation. Once we get all the songs and their final versions are confirmed, we can come back and make more of a frank analysis, but what we're going on... Moving over to semi-final 2, in the first half we have the former Yugoslav Republic of Macedonia, Malta, the Netherlands, Serbia, Denmark, Russia, Romania, Hungary, Austria and Ireland. Then in the second half we have Switzerland, Estonia, Israel, Bulgaria, San Marino, Lithuania, Croatia, Norway and Belarus. The only song at the minute we have in that semi-final is Navi with Historia Maja Zica, and to start it off, I think they would be very silly not to have that close the semi-final. I think that's a closer.
I was about to agree with you as well. I think it's happy, it's up tempo, it'll leave everyone on a nice positive note, which I think is good for Belarus as well. I think that gives them a good chance. I think if they close with that, and if it's fun and if it's up tempo, then that gives them a good chance.
Yeah. Also, France, Germany, and Ukraine are the automatic qualifiers that are voting in the semi-final. I'm not entirely sure who that benefits. Maybe Switzerland can get a few points off Germany, and to be blunt, we know they're going to need them because their national final is very weak. This isn't a weak heat. I mean, if Malta send Brook, who is expected to go, that's going to be difficult. Denmark, we haven't heard the songs, but they have some big names in there, so they're clearly looking to get back into the final. Russia, we expect them to send a good song. Romania, obviously, have always qualified when they've been in the contest. Eugene, if they send a ballad, have a chance, because I think their ballads are better. And like I said, these are strong countries, and the countries with national finals, the songs that I've heard, have pretty strong entries in there. Like Hungary, Adal's quite strong, Malta's quite strong. Estonia have about 4 or 5 songs they can pick from. I think Nathan and Hungary, so Austria and Hungary are going to benefit from being able to vote for each other. That's a given, and I think that's more so to benefit Austria, because Austria struggle. I've noticed it's always one or the other. They either struggle with the jury or they struggle with the televote, and the other one saves them. So obviously having as many friends as you can is going to be very helpful.
I look at this and I think obviously in semi-final 2 we're more likely to lose a big name, because there is a lot of big names in there. So if you look at at this, we could have Estonia might not. I mean, they've got a lot of amazing songs, but we saw last year, that doesn't guarantee you anything. Iceland sent an amazing song last year and didn't make the final. So I think we will see a big name not qualify. Obviously, you don't know who that is.
No.
because he's only got one song yet. But Switzerland, having heard songs in their national final, they're going to struggle to make the final this year. Ireland always struggle to make the final, and that's going to be no different this year, because I don't think Brendan's a very strong singer, and they will struggle as well, simply because of the fact that the United Kingdom aren't voting in semi-final 2. I think the United Kingdom voted in the same semi as Ireland last year, and they still didn't get it through, and it was a big-name singer. So if they can't get through in 2016, their chances of getting through in 2017, very unlikely. And already, I think maybe Nathan and Austria will close the first half, because I think his will be a really impressive song.
Yeah, also we don't know much about Nathan's song. He hasn't really given too much away. But yeah, I could see that. Or Russia, like I say, depending on who they send, we don't know. I think, one thing is for certain in both semi-finals. We know Azerbaijan and Armenia won't be trading points in the first semi-final. And we know Russia and Ukraine will not be trading points in this semi-final. And I did think it was slightly awkward earlier when Russia's name got pulled out in the draw and no one applauded. It was just dead silence when every other country got some sort of applause. That was a bit of a tense moment, but they quickly moved on.
It's going to be a rough year
yes.
for Russia, isn't it? It's kind of their own fault, but it is going to be a rough year for Russia, especially with the contest being in Ukraine. But if I was very cynical, which I will be for a brief second, it's almost as if the EBU have gone, we can't let there be no Scandinavian countries in the final this year. So they've split them up perfectly. We've got Sweden and Finland in the first semi, so they can give each other points. And we've got Norway and Denmark in the second semi, so they can give each other points. So just being cynical. I'm not saying that's what's happened, but it's just, just a thought.
Yeah, obviously semi-final 2 is a tough one to qualify out of, because there are 19 songs in semi-final 2 and only 18 in semi-final 1. But yeah, at the minute, I'm just going on past, standard of songs. Semi-final 2, you would imagine, I won't say it's easier to qualify out of, but there's just a few nations you just don't expect to advance, like Switzerland and San Marino. But there's also a lot of countries who have very impressive qualifying rates in that semi-final, and so it's going to be tough for them. It's obviously it's hard to call it at the minute. We're just going on countries and names and whatnot. Obviously, within about a month's time, half these songs will be announced, and then we can be a bit more, like I said, cutthroat with it all. But yeah, that is the draw at the moment. I think it's a pretty even draw. Even just like from the names and the songs we've got so far, it seems like a very varied semi-final from both nights, which is good. Once we get past a little block of ballads in semi-final 1, but that'll be fine.
So it's always the way, isn't it? We always end up with one semi that's better than the other, and they never seem to be of equal level. I think last year we had one semi that was quality much better than the other, and maybe this year they'll both be equally as good as one another. But one thing's for sure, like you said, very hard to tell at the moment, but I'm sure we always do. We always have an amazing final, so we will this year as well. Yeah.
But yeah, that is the draw at the moment. Obviously, once we have more songs trickle through, and in their respective semi-finals and halves, we'll be able to find out what goes on. And finally, once we get all the 43 songs, we will be able to find out the running order, which will probably be, as we know, the biggest kicker of them all, and seeing who they're going to favour, and not favour so much. But that's what we think of the draw. Let us know what you think. Who do you think is qualifying based on previous qualification and voting patterns? And we shall see what happens in May for these 37 countries and who will be in the final.